All right, cool. Welcome back to another episode of the State of E-commerce. My name is TJ Highland. This is Ben Stein, and with us today we have Stephen Pope, who is the founder of My Amazon Guy. Ben, Stephen, how you guys doing?
Hey, nice to have you. Thanks for letting me come on your podcast live chat today.
For sure. So, guys, a little bit of background on Stephen. Stephen's the founder of My Amazon Guy, as I mentioned. He actually started his career as a TV reporter in Idaho, and then was an e-commerce director for 10 plus years for brands ranging from gold and silver coins all the way to the other side of things, which is women's plus size clothing. After dozens of requests to consult for Amazon sellers, he started his own agency. And now Stephen is one of the top Amazon thought leaders and really a visionary. And he shares all of his trade secrets on his YouTube and his podcast, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So, Stephen, welcome. And why don't you tell us a little bit about My Amazon Guy?
Well, thanks again for having us on. So My Amazon Guy is a 30-person agency based out of Atlanta, and we help sellers grow their sales on Amazon. And I've had a career in various e-commerce businesses, a lot of failed startups. I helped Atmix.com increase its SEO traffic by 10 million uniques year over year. It's been a fun ride. I love working in e-commerce. Our agency, and a little bit about us, we're a one-stop shop for everything on Amazon, from traffic generation and conversion improvements. So on the traffic side, everything from advertising management, search engine optimization. On the catalog side or conversion side, cataloging, merchandising, and design, like A+ content. So selling on Amazon has never been harder. It's kind of a jungle these days. Everybody's constantly like troubleshooting problems. And so our agency has mostly hired technicians instead of hiring marketers, believe it or not.
Awesome. So I think Ben's going to start us off. So Ben, why don't we jump in with some questions for Stephen?
Yeah, thanks TJ, and thanks Stephen for joining us. Excited to learn some of your trade secrets and how sellers can take active steps now and kind of plan for the future as we head into 2021. So to go ahead and kick it off, you mentioned it's never been tougher to sell on Amazon, and that you're hiring technicians for growth. Can you talk a little bit about your strategy when it comes for your clients of My Amazon Guy, and talk about some of those growth tactics that your technicians take?
You bet. So right now, when you're going to go launch on Amazon, Amazon's increasing the barriers. So if you're already on Amazon, you're in better shape because you've already gone through that process. You already have some traction. Just this year alone, Amazon suspended 2.5 million accounts before they even listed their first product. That doesn't account for like sellers who've already made a sale suspensions. So that gives you an idea of how many people are rushing to open an account on Amazon right now. I would say that Amazon has entered its maturity phase as a platform. So what I mean by that is, if you look at any typical product life cycle, and when it enters its maturity phase, the barriers to entry go up. And so that's what Amazon's done. Now, it's never been a better time to sell on Amazon because there's more traffic there. I mean, they had 40% year over year growth due to COVID in Q2. I personally think they're going to have 100% year over year growth in Q4 because of the amount of people that are not going to go to the physical retail store. They're going to buy online this year. So a lot of sellers who were relying upon brick and mortar sales are now rushing to sell online and e-commerce, whether it's Amazon or other platforms. So whenever we look at trying to figure out the best practices to apply, no matter what the best practices are, they're going to change, and they're going to change on a frequent basis. Just as one example, in the last 24 hours, Amazon has completely changed how you appeal listing yanks on the platform. And last Friday, they banned all capital letters in any safety or medical products. So if you were not changing your capital letters to proper case, then you're going to have your listings taken down by Amazon. They're going to shoot first, ask questions later. And it's that kind of troubleshooting that has put our agency at the front line to make sure that your listings are live, they're available for consumers to find them. And it's a very, very difficult battle that is going on right now to keep sales online. So that's the reason why we're hiring technicians, is because there's constantly troubleshooting. Amazon changes the UI. Okay, cool. We got to go figure out how to use that UI. What's the new feature? Why do we need this? For every 10 things that Amazon rolls out, maybe 1 is exceptional and 3 are okay, and the rest are just like, it's not really worth doing. Amazon rolled out social posts this year. Most people don't even know about that, but it's like Instagram for Amazon. They rolled out a really heavy push for video ads, marketing techniques like text ads in your display campaigns. Even really longtime Amazon sellers don't know about these new features because Amazon has done a very poor job of telling the sellers about these new features. And so our agency, we got 160 active monthly retainer clients, full service from end to end. And so we see that trend on one account, and then we immediately roll it out to everybody else. That's why somebody typically values working with an agency, is because that expertise is hyper specific and hyper focused and sped up. But yeah, it's a lot of fun to deal with all of those challenges. It's a fire drill every day, fighting one thing or another. But it's also really fun because you get to see the fruit of your labor. It's immediate, and I got ADHD. I could talk about 17 different things in the course of 60 seconds. But being able to go and list a product on Amazon and immediately see sales come in, that's a very rewarding aspect of being an Amazon seller.
I can imagine, right? Because you're seeing the amount of work that you're putting in and then seeing that tangible result at the end. And, one of the most, I think, important things you just said there is that Amazon is consistently rolling out new features. It is their sandbox, it's their schoolyard, and they're making the rules here. And we're, just participants, or sellers, really participants playing within those rules and within those restrictions. So what are some of the notable things, outside of what you just mentioned, that you've seen take place in Q4 or that you anticipate coming up in 2021 as this ever-changing e-commerce world just continues to evolve?
Well, I think video content is the biggest game changer of 2020. I think that you need to be running 30-second TV spot-like ads on Amazon right now. Most businesses and brands, so let's say I'm a side hustler and I've got my items out of my garage, out of my basement, my closet. They have not invested in video content yet, and nor has the large corporations out there, right? Like, large corporations are using old stock footage, and it's 3 or 4 years and it's stale. And so every business, no matter whether you're small mom and pop or big corporation, needs to heavily invest in video content right now. And you're able to get prime real estate on Amazon. So let's, for those that are listening in today, if you go to Amazon.com right now on a second tab and you type in any product, let's say it's an air purifier, right? And you type in that air purifier and you scroll down. Within the first 5 seconds of scrolling, you're going to find a video ad. It's going to be in your face, and you're going to click on it versus a regular text ad. So the search algorithm has very much focused on a lot of the advertised listings, especially video content, made it more front, up, and center. And we're going to continue to see that. The other thing I'd say is that, if you're looking for quick hit tips today to increase your Amazon sales, make sure you take up as much space as you possibly can with your A+ content. And that's because when there's all these ads that are competing noises, if somebody goes to your Amazon listing right now and they look around, they can see various different competitor listings. Like, if you were to count how many ads are showing up on your own detail page, it's like 100 plus. And so if you take up more space, which is the absolute opposite of a regular e-commerce best practice, right? Like, if I'm trying to convince you to buy something from my website, I should have a call to action above the fold. Click here, buy now, go to checkout. No noise. But on Amazon, the complete opposite is true. And that's the very difference of the nuance here, because if you don't take up lots of space and be noisy as possible and put up virtual bundles and social posts and video content and gigantic A+ content, your consumers are going to click on a competitor ad and leave your page. And that's how competitive it is right now on Amazon. So that's the changing landscape. And I think Amazon is accelerating that by creating new advertising segments, new ways to reach consumers. They're heavier on display ads, heavier on video ads. And so it wouldn't surprise me if social ads become a paid medium instead of just a free organic thing in the near future.
So, Stephen, I know you are my Amazon guy, but you talking about videos on Amazon got me thinking about a story I heard a couple months ago where they were referencing the sale of TikTok. and Walmart kept coming up. And at the time I was really trying to rack my brain around why would Walmart want to buy TikTok. They kind of operate in different spaces, but it seems like video or more captivating content is going to be the future, right? Is that fair to say?
I would say it's the present, and I think the future is accelerating it. And most people that don't have video are now behind the curve. It does not surprise me in the slightest that Walmart's looking at buying TikTok, regardless of the politics and why TikTok has to sell itself. You're able to reach a large audience quickly with your product. And if your product can be shown and told, especially if it has any humor aspects, TikTok is an amazing platform to do that. And anytime, and I'm a big Gary Vee fan, every time a new platform comes out, you see new leaders on that platform. So new influencers. And so if you listen to what Gary Vee talks about, he says that if you enter into that market and become one of those new leaders before everybody else, you have a huge, huge advantage. You can cut through noise. You can captivate your audience quicker, faster, less competition, and you can be niche. Now, with that said, I did see TikTok roll out ads recently, and they're pretty heavily focused with Chinese sellers right now. So this is a topical topic to Amazon as well, because we're seeing a big change in who is selling on Amazon. So I clicked on one of those ads on TikTok, and I wasn't really interested in the product, but it was, I got 3 kids under 5, and the product was to have like stars showing on your walls, and it was like this little projector. So I bought it. So the product comes and it's a piece of junk, right? Like, doesn't even have light bulbs. The instructions are in Chinesium. You get the idea. And I was just utterly surprised about the quality control of what's being hawked on TikTok. So it's a wild, wild west right now. Right. Now, as this relates to Amazon, you're seeing a big pressure and push of Chinese sellers going direct to consumer. So Americans, if they want to compete right now, they very much need to up the quality of their goods, and they have to have better customer service and better communication. And quite frankly, I would also consider American made. And that's the future. That's where I see things going. I think we're going to see a return to American made. I think there's geopolitical pressure to move away from Chinese manufacturing. It's going to be a slow pull away. But if you get ahead of the curve, even if your costs are higher, you have a competitive advantage. So it's interesting to see what happens on TikTok. It's anybody's guess on like what's going to happen with the platform, but it's absolutely going through a very big revolution right now.
I love what you just said there about being the first person in the space. And if you are the first seller in a space, first merchant, first brand in the space, you get to define basically what that space looks like. And for better or for worse, make the rules, because it is the Wild West. And I think we saw that, a few years ago when Walmart made a really big push on their marketplace. We're seeing with eBay continuing to ramp up their marketplace efforts. And then, Shopify has partnerships with Walmart and other large players out there. So as we see this starting to happen, what are you telling your clients about diversification, either, off Amazon to other domestic marketplaces here in the US or to other international Amazon marketplaces, or just international marketplaces in general?
So what I would say is the US is the strongest market, bar none. If we're going to talk geolocations on Seller Central, the easiest to launch next is Canada to diversify your portfolio. Followed by, not easiest, but best to do is Germany and the United Kingdom. So those are the 4 hyper-focused targets that I recommend. Europe right now is a little challenging. We've seen the governments kind of go to bat against Amazon. And so a little struggle. It's harder to manage your VAT and your taxes and your customs. But the Germany market is very, very strong right now. And buyer consumerism and the amount of people buying products is very strong. The UK is probably pretty average. And then Canada is about the size of New York from a population standpoint. So it's about 7% of the US buyer capacity. And I think Germany will be more like 25 to 30% of the capacity, to give you an idea of like why you would want to focus those geos. Outside of Amazon, there's also platform diversification. So not only do I own my Amazon guy, I also own my EtsyGuy.com, my Walmart guy, my eBay guy, and my Shopify guy.site. And the reason we've done that is because once you've optimized Amazon, you need to look to other platforms. If your Amazon account gets suspended, which is kind of an annual event, believe it or not, or your best listing goes down, you need to have these backups available so that you can sleep easy at night knowing that you're able to still sell your goods regardless of what happens on one specific medium. So I think Walmart is the biggest potential lift for next year. This is the one where I'm trying. Quite frankly, I honestly thought it would have happened by now. I thought Walmart would have caught up, but now that they've, I'm plugging you guys here, but like now that Walmart's partnered up with Payoneer, and now that they have, bought Jet a couple years back, and now they're investing in some of their infrastructure for their site, I think and I predict that Walmart will be the biggest, fastest growing marketplace in 2021. On the flip side, I've been disappointed by Walmart's progress to date. I think they're behind. I think they should have been way farther along. I don't know why they couldn't integrate Jet. I don't know why their physical infrastructure versus their e-commerce aren't communicating well with each other, but it's a work in progress. And I have to give them props for pulling that Titanic shift off. It's very difficult to move the Titanic boat and, move it a couple degrees. eBay has always been strong. It's probably the most under-tapped platform. People don't realize that the eBay shopper is very different than the Amazon shopper. If you've got a B2B product, eBay's better. If you got car parts or an accessory or something that's really hard to find, eBay is way better than Amazon. So it makes sense to be on those platforms as well. When I was working at Atmix.com, which is a precious metals dealer, #1 in the world for bullion and selling online, they are also the #1 seller on eBay, bar none, from a gross sales standpoint. And precious metals and jewelry do really, really well on eBay. That's the #1 place people are buying certain products like that. So that's why you have to diversify no matter where your products are. Etsy was the fastest growing in Q2 and Q3 this year in 2020. I was very surprised by that. I did not see that coming. But basically, when Amazon's supply chain just completely broke down, people went to Etsy. And if Amazon supply chain breaks down again due to COVID during Q4, starting Black Friday weekend, Turkey 5 as they're calling it, you could see anything potentially happen. And so people are going to go to these other platforms as supply chains break down. And that's why the diversification makes sense from all of those reasons.
I think too, to your point, as much as the consumer is different, the seller is different on a lot of different platforms. Like you said, if you sell a certain product of car parts or precious metals, you might do better on eBay. But if you're selling, reselling or selling the same thing that everyone else is selling, maybe that's not the platform you're going to see the most success on. I think also from the from the Etsy standard, one of the things that we've heard is that the masks are what really drove their growth in Q2. And I don't know if you saw me when you were talking, I went like that.
Yeah.
Because that's definitely what, you weren't seeing many masks from like handmade being sold on Amazon, perhaps like Hanes or this company or that company transitioned and made some masks. But, from an individual standpoint, like new sellers or new businesses, that definitely seems to be, on the eBay route. I'm sorry, the Etsy route.
So I completely agree with you. We also launched a mask company on Amazon, and they went from 100K a month sales before they did masks, and now they're $1 million per month business. And that was the fastest growing business we worked with this year. It was phenomenal growth. So if now, mind you, that is already beaten down, and there's a lot of competition there, and Amazon's made it super hard to enter that space. So if you're not starting there, I wouldn't start there now. But it's definitely at its peak, and it's a great place to be selling. So, but to those that are watching and they're like, I'm not started, what do I do? What product should I start? And what I would say to them is, the data be damned. Start with your gut and what you know and understand. So if you're the #1 rock climber in the world, you should be looking at rock climbing gear because you understand it, you know what to do with it. But if you don't have expertise in a particular product line, don't rely upon the data. You will find everybody else entering the space at the same time, but they're going to have a better advantage. So that's why I caveat that and consider what products you launch in. Always have an understanding of them.
Fair.
I think that's a great point, right? If you don't have a personal connection to that product, or you don't know, and maybe you're just kind of shooting in the dark to trying to see what works, those markets are probably going to be pretty saturated. as we talked about earlier in this session, is the competition is there, and the more sellers are entering the marketplace than ever before. As you mentioned, we saw Amazon's growth. We know Walmart was up. It was like 79% year to date in this last quarter, which I think is just phenomenal growth when you talk about a marketplace that is, a second tier marketplace to Amazon, who has the gold standard here. But bringing it all back, I think that at this point in time, you really do have to be a professional seller. It's no longer the side hustle or something you're doing out of your garage. If you really want to truly win and scale that mask business from $100,000 to $1 million, you really have to dedicate time, energy, and resources and figure out how to truly have that competitive advantage.
One of my favorite phrases is Amazon is not passive income. And anybody that tells you that Amazon is passive income is a big fat liar. So it's hard work. It's really hard work. It's a grind.
Yeah, to that point, there's a large network of partners, of vendors, of experts, of consultants, of I can keep using titles on and on out there that are here to help those sellers. And I think that's why we're seeing such success in the marketplace is people are not only diversifying where they're selling, but diversifying their own business themselves. It is hard to do it all by yourself if you really want to find success and make it less passive and more active.
And if you want to go it alone, your options are go watch 40 hours of podcasts a week, right? And try and crack it yourself. Or you could hire an expert like my Amazon guy and we'll help you out. So it's a challenging environment. And to what I would say on that is just give it your all. Know that it's an iterative process and it's going to be challenging. It's okay to make mistakes, but you want to minimize them. And if you don't get started today, that's going to be the biggest downfall. Most important thing I'd say is get started, make the change. My default marketing philosophy is just do it.
So Stephen, if somebody wanted to come work with my Amazon guy, what would do they have to be of a certain size of a business? And then if so, and how would they get in touch with you? What's the best way to reach out?
You bet. So we're full service and we are working with large businesses or medium-sized businesses. If you're just getting started, my recommendation is hire us for a single coaching call at myamazonguy.com. Just click the book a coaching call on the top right. And that call will go into your account and literally coach you through your current situation. You need help with sourcing, we'll tell you what to do. Need product research? Cool. Here's what to do. Here's how to narrow that down of that field. You got a listing yank, you need to get that back up, talk to us on the phone. For businesses that are looking for full service management, you hit contact us on our website at myamazonguy.com. We'll go in there and figure out what's a good way to do that. Everything from SEO, PPC, design, catalog, you name it. That's all included, full service to help people grow their sales on Amazon.
That's awesome. I think as we've discussed in this day and age, right, there are just so many things to consider from a seller, whether it is the PPC or the A+ content or the SEO optimization, sourcing the best products, making sure that your unit economics are right. You're not losing money, that you don't have the wrong expectations, that your goals are set. I'm just getting excited and sweating a little bit over here thinking about all of it because there's just so much. And it's great to know, Stephen, that there are great partners out there like you that are really willing and able to help these sellers, whether they are that single seller that just needs a call to say, what's up and down, which way do I look? Or I'm a mature seller really looking to turn the curve and making sure that I can level up my business.
There's many ways to level up too. You don't just have to go source a product off Alibaba. You could go buy somebody else's business. One of my favorite partners for that is Quiet Light Brokerage. So if you've got some financing and you want to go pick up an Amazon business, a lot of sellers are doing that too. They're picking up multiple businesses, bringing them all in-house, increase their sophistication. We have multiple partners where we run 6, 7, 8 Seller Central accounts, and they've got all their different businesses and that they've acquired over time.
Yeah, I love that. I love seeing the brands that are being built on Amazon, and I think it is as a marketplace finally maturing and finally turning the corner. We're seeing customers respond well to brands that have already been built, and they're looking for those offline, which is that growth is going to be very interesting to see in the next few years here.
I think so.
So, Stephen, with that, we want to say thank you so much for joining us here on the State of E-commerce. I know I personally really enjoyed learning and hearing about your insights and thoughts on Amazon businesses and growth here in Q4 and beyond. So as we always do, we'd love to give you the final word before we sign off.
Well, thank you, TJ and Ben, for having me on with you guys today. We also had Payoneer on the My Amazon Guy podcast. So I'm going to use my last word to plug you guys. If you want to learn more about how Payoneer works from an e-commerce standpoint, you can check our podcast out at podcast.myamazonguy.com. And we had that published last week with Ben. So thanks for coming on our pod. We love the fact that we've been able to partner up and help each other out. So I also use Payoneer to pay my own overseas employees in the Philippines. So if you are an Amazon seller today, you should check out using Payoneer for your international payments.
It's a very nice plug. Thank you.
You weren't expecting it. I did it.
No, I wasn't. So thank you again, Stephen, for Ben and myself. Really appreciate it. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.